Hi everyone, you are listening to the Take A Podcast. I am Georgina Kiskozma, social scientist and bookworm. In the Take A Podcast episodes, we talk about social issues, each time on new topics. One thing is for sure, we preserve ideas instead of borrowing them. Join us. Welcome everyone. You are listening to the new Take A Podcast episode of the Youth Research Institute. My name is Georgina Kiskozma. In today's episode, we are going to talk about women and family here at the MCC Feszt. I'm delighted to have Sara Huff, whose most recent high-profile position was coordinator of maternity policies at the Ministry of Women, Family and Human Rights in Brazil. Sara, I'm very grateful to you for accepting my invitation. Reading your autobiography, I noticed that although you are still very young, you have had a very exciting life. You have developed from a radical feminist to a conservative Catholic traditionalist. So before we turn to our main topics, I would first like to ask what we should understand by feminism. In my opinion, feminism is a controversial ideology that doesn't promote cooperation between men and women, but rather increases tensions between them. So how should we properly understand feminism? And my closely related question is, are you a feminist now? What is your story?
Perfect. Thank you so much for the invitation. I am very honored to be here in the MCC Youth Podcast and also attending the MCC Feszt. I'm very honored to be here in Hungary, so thank you so much. Yes, I came from a very dysfunctional family, and that led me to very bad decisions in my life. And unfortunately, we can see that the world is also inclined to all this family destruction. Is like a war on children, a war on family, a war on values and morals and all of that. So I was the perfect victim for the feminist movement because I was under a very complicated familiar scenario. I had a brother who was involved with the drug dealing, drug traffic, narcos, very violent. So I grew up in this violent environment. When I was 16 years old, unfortunately, he kicked me out of home and I started to live on the street, sometimes with relatives, and I ended up in the prostitution world at the age 16. And I went to all the kinds of harassment, abuse, rape. It was very difficult. So at the age of almost 18, everything I knew about men, they were bad because my life led me to a way that I unfortunately just met bad men. So one day I was just reading the news and I happened to see this movement of very young girls protesting, and they were like doing topless, and it happens to be the Ukrainian movement Femin that was in 2011, and I wasn't sure if that was good or right, but definitely called my attention. And I went on Google to search what feminism was. I wasn't familiar with that. And the Wikipedia, which is the source, like we're talking about over 10 years ago, but it still is the main source of research for young. And this is terrible, but this is the truth. So Wikipedia told me that feminism stands for women and women's rights, and it's against all things that I was going through my life, violence against women, rape, all of this. So I thought, that's amazing. If they are fighting against this, I want to belong to this movement. So I was the perfect victim. So I came to Ukraine. They made a whole brainwashed in me and other girls that was attending like a feminist courses and practice. I was sponsored to learn all that. I came back to Brazil. I turned to a very famous political celebrity, and I was really thinking this feminist ideology was something good for women because that's what I learned. But I could understand through the most dramatic and painful way that it's actually not. They have an amazing propaganda, amazing advertisement through beautiful terminologies like empowered man, freedom, independence, things. Who doesn't want to be free, independent? You see, those words are in the modern age connected to happiness somehow, and everybody wants to be happy. So I was trying to pursue a happier life. And I also believe that most people who joins this identitary movements like Black Lives Matter or a kind of a communist utopia, feminism, gender ideology, all this, they have good intentions. They truly want to help people and they want to fight against sorts of justice and injustice. They want to do good. And those movements, they convince them that they have the answers, but unfortunately, they just indoctrinate these people and lead them to make a lot of mistakes. So they are looking for answers. Those movements promise them success, happiness and answers, but they teach how to solve real problems in the wrongest way as possible. So at the age of 22, I got pregnant and while I was a feminist, I was always standing for abortion. And my feminist friends, they told me, you know what, you're the most famous feminist in our country. You have to have an abortion because first of all, what's inside your belly, it's not a human being, it's not a child, it's just a clump of cells. It's just a blood clot. It's just a period. It doesn't matter. And because in Brazil, it's the abortion, thank God, it's not legalized. It's not legal. But they said at the time, 10 years ago, if you have an abortion, that will, as you're so famous in the political scenario, that will open up the discussion again, and we can use that in our favor to push politicians to legalize the procedure. And I did. I had an abortion, and it was the most terrifying thing that I went through my whole life because nobody told me that I had to go through hours and hours of a terrible pain. It's a birth, it's a delivery pain. Nobody told me that. Nobody told me that after such horrible hours that I will look in the toilet and I will see my daughter. They said it was a clump of cells. So it was very traumatic. And I also had a terrible bleeding. I called all my feminist friends asking for help. And I said, okay, we're going to help you. Nobody came. They literally let me to die. And the only one that actually saved my life on that day was my neighbor. And I used to hate him really bad because he was a father and a Catholic man. And but that man that I used to see like patriarchal and heterosexual, what is the worst as possible, white man. He saved my life with his wife. He took care of me as I was his own daughter. And that was, I think, the spin-off why I could see that everything that I was fighting for during 5 years and the deepest intimacy of the feminist movement, that wasn't right. Everything I wanted, it was helping women. But after 5 years of feminist, how many women did I help? None. And I almost lost myself and almost died. So that was the reason why I quit feminism and I started to reconnect with the church and the truth. So I am not a feminist. And sometimes people ask me, what are you? Are you a conservative? What's your political tag? And I said, I'm Catholic. That's what I am, if I can define myself.
Here in Hungary, we believe in the traditional family model, and the majority of young Hungarians also imagine their future in traditional families. On the other hand, we are facing enormous demographic problems in this part of the world because fewer and fewer children are being born. In Europe, the fertility rates have long been below the replacement level, which is why the total population in many countries has been shrinking and aging. There are voices who believe that it is a responsible decision for young people not to have children. How do you see the current situation of the family structure? What your experience is in your country?
Yeah, and actually, this is a big problem in effect all the Western, because all the liberalism, the feminist movement had taught women that motherhood, matrimony, those are such horrible things that will lead women to their unhappiness, and that we need to be so well successful, like we need to be CEOs of great think tanks or banks, or that we have to have a degree, a master, a PhD, a post PhD. We can do all that, but if we don't pay attention in our feminine nature, we cannot be happy. I particularly believe that one who fights against their own nature are completely incapable to find happiness. And when we see that women nowadays, they're pursuing their careers so bad because they want that, this is connected to the modern idea of happiness. And then we see women reaching like 35, 38, 40, 45. And now they are just spending all their savings in trying to get pregnant. And this is something that they could have done in the past for free. So I think women are being dumb. Feminism is dumbing down women. We went to a trap, and now we need to liberate ourselves. That it's so people are terrified. Youth, they are terrified of having responsibility. It's an hedonistic society where everybody under the age 40 wants to have pleasure and enjoy life. They don't want to sacrifice. They don't want to serve. They don't want to work. They don't want to give up of anything to give to the other. And this is also a reflection of taking away Christianity, of the upbringing of people, because the most principle of Christianity is charity, is love others as you love yourself. Nobody wants to love others. Everybody wants to love themselves. So, and this is a reflection in our youth. So now we have a big job ahead, and I think and I truly believe that Hungary can be the role model for the whole Western. What's happening here? A counter-revolution, a Christian conservative counter-revolution. It can be used as a role model to inspire youth all around the West.
Thank you very much. My last question is, what would you say to Hungarian young people, women and mothers?
I will say, please speak up, because being here for only a couple of days, I could see with my own eyes, of course, as an expert in public policy, I studied before the pro-life and pro-family Hungarian policies, and I was amazed. But now I can see with my eyes, and sometimes I think maybe Hungarian people are very humble, but somehow kind of naive, because they don't understand how famous and popular you are around the world. The world now, the West, are turning their eyes to Hungary. So y'all have to be a role model and especially women, because in America, in Latin America, and West Europe, women truly believe that they can be mothers and being happy and well successful. And Hungarian women, they are proving, yes, we can. Yes, we can. And I think y'all have to speak up and don't be shy and have this wish inside to say, hello, we are doing this here. If we are capable, y'all are also capable. And if you want, we can teach y'all how to do that.
Sara, thank you so much for accepting my invitation and sharing your inspiring and valuable story with us. And to everyone who has listened to our conversation, have a wonderful day. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to the latest episode of the Take-A podcast. You can find more content on the Youth Research Institute's website and Facebook page.